Mirrors and Dreams, Book 2 of the Unseen Scar series, written and narrated by C.R. Saxon. Chapter 32. All John's attempts at getting more information failed. Why is he suddenly hungry all the time? Even as John left, the gent's stomach continued growling. He focuses on medical technology and medicine. Did he? No, the gent would never do something like that. I need to clear my head. Sunshine enveloped John when he stepped outside. Its warmth accompanied him on his walk to the main island. Save for about a month each year, sunshine could always be counted on here, though the rainy season was the best time for sleeping. This was paradise. If only it was closer to home. Given the choice, John would leave this for home any day. Being smushed by his 7 older brothers, the aroma of Dad's cooking, Mom laughing along at their fun. His heart yearned for home so bitterly it twisted his stomach. Now wasn't the time for homesickness, so he forced those thoughts away. Cresting the hill, John saw one of his island brothers below. Elu looked exhausted. Red hair flared into existence, making his sweet mate scream. John both smiled and sighed. I told him to focus on Marcus. Is this what being a parent feels like? Picking up his pace, he stopped behind Oya. While she teased Elu, John reached around and covered her eyes. Ooh, don't tell me! Based on how big your hands are, you must be pretty tall. Oya babbled excitedly and leaned against his stomach. You're not all that broad, though, and your hands are too meaty to be Ferdinan. Pity and gratitude mixed with apology on Elu's face. A nod invited the healer to escape. It's not that hard, Oya. You took all the fun out of it. Grabbing his hand, she turned and looked up, berating him with an animated pout. Sorry, I haven't forgotten you. Would you play with me? Those green eyes glowed. Yay! But only for a short while. Times like this, she seemed like a much younger child. Is this an act? Is this truly how she is? I'll gladly take that much. A maniacal chuckle burst out of her. What game today? Those words sounded playful, but John wasn't sure how to interpret them. First, there's something strange with Ferdinan. He's sprouting a tail or something? Moving down the hill put them closer to eye level, but unless he knelt... I don't like this. I want to stay small. But he couldn't change that, so he told her about the skeleton's recent meals. Her impishness faded. He's eating like a boy his age. No, he's eating like a half-starved beast. Well, he's been more than half-starved for how long? Why would that matter now? John clasped his hands. Do you know why? I've never seen him like this, and I don't know how to help. Bringing more food more often isn't working. We're playing often and for longer. Maybe that's why. May I ask what you two play? Oya laughed. You may always ask. John sighed. Even simple politeness. What are you doing that's leaving him so ravenous? We play tag and roam all around. He's showing me the smaller islands. You must be doing more than that. Is his body simply realizing a lifetime of hunger? How often do you play? Whenever he doesn't have class, or needs a work break. That's all? Oya walked on tiptoes a few steps, then spun. Yes. She's tired of questions. Patting her head, John lifted her to his shoulders. How's the view up there? Wow, is this what it's like for Ozar and Samuel? Possibly. John grinned. Wait till you meet Jingjing. He makes those two look short. I have to meet your giants. He expected Oya to run him ragged, but not a half hour passed before she disappeared. It works. No voice, no Emil. He was free. Evelyn was safe, but... Ferdinan didn't realize the bar was gone, until the empty wrapper brushed his lips. Disgusting. I already ate it? Pushing that thought aside, his mind returned to the larger issue. Being free of that voice was wonderful, but the cost. Screaming at the superintendent, jumping off the cliff, he didn't want to die in that moment, but he didn't try stopping himself. Everything was too intense, and he didn't realize, not until splintered wood and torn fabric littered his room after that strange dream. Neither had he slept since. He had too much energy to sleep. Not moving was painful, impossible. And because he couldn't stop moving, couldn't stop eating, he was getting bigger. Nothing fit, nothing felt right. Neither was the mere kind in confirming this. A muscle-wrapped skeleton. How did this happen? How much weight have I gained? Ferdinan felt sick, being this out of control. Will a lower dose still be effective, or did he convert the numbers wrong? And he'd based the dose on his height, not his weight. Am I taking too much? Lowering the dose could fix the problems, or it could allow the voice to come back. But it didn't matter. John would be pestering him soon, making him weigh in. The skeleton avoided it long past the extension he asked for. Turning back to the mirror, Ferdinan took in his gaunt face. It made him seem skinnier, but the Duchess would know. She'd never be fooled so easily. Stay in control, exercise self-restraint. I have to. With the first shirt on and buttoned, Ferdinan reached for the second, only to find his arms and shoulders restrained. His shirt shrunk as his muscles grew. Panic and bile rose in his throat, and heat. Red. Stupid shirt, move! Ferdinan? John's call stopped him from thrusting his arms forward and forcing the shirt to release him. Eyes closed, deep breath. He stepped out of his closet, feeling fully naked with only one shirt. Ready? John forced a smile, but neither boy was looking forward to this. Yeah. Swallowing back strangled bitterness, Ferdinan stepped up on the scale after John turned it on. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. The Duchess's ire beat down, flooding him with daggers and ice. No way. Huh? John's disbelief dragged Ferdinand's eyes to the readout. 8 pounds. The ice burned. If I get called home. That's not possible. Scrutinous eyes examined his ally's face. Turn out your pockets. Excuse me? Ferdinan wanted nothing more than to tear John apart for this humiliation. There's no way. Anyone can see you've lost weight. Did you rig the scale? Why would I do that? Not appreciating being yelled at, John pulled Ferdinan off and stepped up himself. A frown marred his face. Turn out your pockets. I know that wasn't right. Fire flushed sunken cheeks. Shaking hands seized thick arms to keep from beating the one accusing him of lying, cheating. I can't report obviously wrong numbers to the superintendent. John let out a gasp. One bony hand clutched his tailored shirt. The other was raised to pulverize his face. Every muscle in the skeleton's body shook, trying desperately to stop. Thin lips wavered between baring white teeth and trembling. I'm scaring him. Good. No. Stop. Teeth clenched, Ferdinan forced his fingers closed. If you don't believe me, fine. Tearing his hand away, Ferdinan redirected his rage at the restrictive clothing. Unceremoniously, he stripped and stepped back on the scale. Both boys looked, and both were surprised to see a weight only a few ounces less. John fumbled over an apology while Ferdinan grabbed his arms to keep from attacking the cruel, unforgiving machine. Calm down. Being this upset is unreasonable. Do you believe it now, or do we need to find another one? Frozen, John studied the grotesque skeleton. What little body fat Ferdinan once had was completely gone, but his muscle mass had exploded, particularly in his legs, shoulders, chest, and arms. The sight was unreal. What have you been doing? Running, swimming, playing with Oya, which usually led to more running and swimming and a whole lot of fighting. This was his life. Grabbing his tattered clothing, Ferdinan dressed for a second time, his ally gawking and judging. What right does he have to critique me? Are we done? You need new clothes. John's statement surprised them both. Maybe during break. That shirt. Can you even bring your arms up in front of you? Hoping to prove his ally wrong only proved John right. There's only 2 weeks till break. Are we done now? No. John pointed to the wall he'd marked their heights on last time, and he did so again. Inch for inch, they were the same, and both had grown. Seeing this frustrated his ally, but Ferdinan didn't care. Go away. The gruesome vision of Ferdinan on the twilight beach haunted him. Zephyr laid back on his bed. All of this was cruel, and all of it was his fault. But being shown over and over how much of a monster he was, what he'd done to his cousin's soul, it ravished his heart and tore at his insides. Why? The tightness in his chest was unbearable again, but nothing eased it. What do I do? Why me? If I'd been someone else, anyone else. He curled into a ball, and for the 1000th time he asked himself, what do I do? The only response he got was a beep. He didn't want to talk to anyone, but others were already worried about him, and the message was a call from his aunt. No need making things worse. Smoothing his hair and straightening his clothes, he answered. Aunt Tanalia beamed at him. The usual pleasantries gave way to heavier topics. That's wonderful. How's your cousin? The last time I saw him, he was eating more than me. Good. Tanalia's smile filled with relief. And his abuser? Zephyr's chest somehow tightened more as his hands danced. I found them. Who? It's taken care of. Zephyr looked away. That's not what I asked. I know, but I promise it's taken care of. The abuse has stopped. Permanently. I'm sorry, but I need a name. You were told to find the person. I'll do what needs to be done to fix things from here. I know. Even if I told her, she wouldn't believe me. Why didn't she see? If they hurt him again, I'll tell you their name. What's wrong? Looking up, John smiled at the sincerest person he knew on these islands. It's that obvious? I felt your concern and doubt from the main classrooms. Sitting down next to his suite mate, Ganji continued, I know you want to talk. I'm happy to listen. Heaving a deep sigh, John squeezed his island brother tight. I can't tell you how much I love you, Ganji. Thank you. Soaking in John's relief, the psych gave a chuckle. I haven't done anything yet. But you're willing, despite knowing who it's about. It doesn't matter the subject. I can always listen. Ganji, Every time I think I understand him, the rules change. John was about to say more than he should, but he trusted Ganji as much as his family, and the psych might be able to offer insight, or something. John wasn't sure what he wanted anymore. After constant exhaustion, he got really sick, and when I confronted him, he agreed it all needed to stop. It was amazing hearing this, and I wasn't expecting a miracle. But even that happened. He became cooperative and happy, joking for fun, smiling a real smile. He had energy and an appetite. I was thrilled. Finally, he was getting better. Finally, I made a difference. Ganji frowned sympathetically. He wasn't getting better. I really think he was, till he went too far the other way. Seeing Ferdinan go from an emotionless statue to a normal person was amazing, but now he overreacts to everything. Like the intensity of his emotions are beyond his control. He can't sit or stand still. No matter how much food I bring, he's still hungry, and I have to take it away from him when I think he's reached his limit, or he'll eat till he throws up. And it's happened with Zephyr, too. John stopped to take a deep breath. His emotions don't make sense. This morning, Ferdinan was beaming when Oya arrived. I could almost hear the world sing around him. Laying out the food, he was on the verge of tears. Before I could ask what was wrong, he was attacking the plate like a ravenous beast. Silently, Ganji sat, giving John time to ask his question. This isn't normal, is it? I don't know what to do. It seems he doesn't know either. That doesn't sound normal. This simple, straightforward answer was what John needed. Yes, something was wrong. It wasn't just him. If only the gent could tell him what was going on inside Ferdinand's head. Ganji stopped John's wishful thought right there. As a telepath, I can't help hearing and feeling things from those around me, but I can't pry on purpose, especially with Ferdinan. All the psychs are reminded regularly to avoid him. I'm sorry, but that's all the help I can offer. Disappointment and despair deflated John. I know, but I guess I was hoping anyway. Mostly, I needed to say all that. I know you'll keep this between us. I'm sorry for burdening you. Ganji smiled and hugged the growing giant. Watching you suffer alone is a worse burden. It was impressive. Not only did Zephyr figure out how to traverse streams on his own, but he invaded hers with little difficulty. Both of these were unexpected, but him seeing Ferdinan the way she did, that was impressive. Luckily, Zephyr's eyes were only partly open. Neither of us are ready for him to see fully. If he'd seen her, or himself. Crazed green eyes turned to her friend. She couldn't beat him in a foot race anymore, but they still ran. She still tried. The only reason they were neck and neck was because he was keeping pace with her. This was troubling, but not as much as her thoughts. Traversing dreams and seeing the soul. Is he compatible with both? Or is my control of the dreamlands waning? Oya leaned forward, willing her feet to move faster. Have I ever felt this tired? Her entourage of orbs pressed in on her, offering what energy they could. Thank you. This needs to be done. Turning her most obnoxious grin to her friend, Oya slapped his arm and bolted for the boys' dormitory. Next, she grabbed a hold of Zephyr's mind and dragged him to the window. How do I get them to tame each other? Why did you stop? Ferdinand panted, offering a hand to her. Ha ha! Slapping it, she stepped forward. Every ounce of her power went into that punch. What'll you do when you see his abilities, Zephyr? Oya bolted, drawing both her friend and her project after her. It's good to have a friend. Even if... What's he doing? Zephyr dashed down 3 flights of stairs and out into the pitch-black night. A half moon and a million stars gave just enough light to make out the terrain and the direction they went, but a mad dash wasn't enough to catch up. That was fine. He was good at tracking. How far away did they get? Catching them consumed his mind. Why it was important, he didn't know, but it was. Prints in soft soil, damaged brush, he followed. Disturbing laughter rang out from the clearing ahead, rewarding his efforts and bringing mixed feelings. The girl with short hair, and Ferdinan. You'll know how real it is soon enough. The elf's words surfaced. Why does he still look like that? I'm dreaming. I have to be. But he couldn't look away. The two traded running for a fight, and it was grand to see. Fast and agile, just like the fights he'd watched his mother and Rhetoric battle out. Zephyr's heart quickened, trying to match their speed. I don't know her. She's not a fighter, but she should be. But Ferdinan was better than her. One round after another ended with the girl knocked down. Wild laughter stopped the match. Words he didn't know left her. Then she ran off, but his cousin stood looking content to wait. For a moment. The skeleton fidgeted, then roamed from plant to plant, studying them. I should leave. But when his feet moved, they approached instead of slipping away. Oya? Ferdinan turned. Just her name? You two must be close for you to drop her title. Shame and disgrace reddened Ferdinand's cheeks and moistened his eyes. The skeleton dropped to one knee, head down. I'm sorry, my prince. For finally making a friend? Zephyr couldn't look away from the battered child, knowing what he'd done to his cousin's body and soul. I did that to him. Every beating he gave, every relationship he sabotaged, every burden he laid on his cousin, they were all there. The vice on his chest turned again. He'd scream, but it'd drive his cousin into a panic. It took a moment for his throat to loosen. Why are you two out so long past curfew? Ferdinan stiffened and trembled in silence. Zephyr's desire to know grew stronger. All his life he'd trained to become a general, yet none of those lessons aided him now. He was helpless and weak, and when his tongue moved, it said too much. I saw you, a couple of times running, and just now fighting. The skeleton's pale skin turned translucent. His trembling intensified. You're a duel. He hated saying it, hated admitting its truth. But Zephyr saw Ferdinan move in a way a scientist never could, and he'd seen firsthand for years how competent a tinkerer his cousin was. Nearly non-existent lips moved, and blue crystals darted around. No, I'm not. How does no one know? A duel? After how many generations? A bittersweet thought occurred to Zephyr. He truly can be general. The position can go to someone better than me. No! What's he objecting to? Zephyr's hand spoke as he did. Ferdinan, I've seen you. Normal people can't move like that. Even untrained, that fighting was as good as actual fighters. And your speed. It's a fighter's. You're a duel. No, don't think that. Ferdinan screamed. Those crystals darted around again, looking for an escape. Then he bolted. The speed his cousin left at. Athletes might be faster runners than fighters, but Ferdinand's legs were significantly longer. No wonder he kept falling behind. Even if Zephyr could catch up, did he want to? Standing there in the starlit night, the prince considered everything. Why does he hide this? Why does my knowing scare him? What does this mean? He couldn't have hidden this on his own, not as a child. So, who wants this kept secret? An answer came to him, but he didn't like it.